military offensive underway to retake the Iraqi city of Mosul from the Islamic State group, attention has turned to the unfolding humanitarian crisis. The United Nations says at least half of the Iraqis expected to flee from Mosul are likely to be children. One concern from aid agencies is that young boys who are considered to be prime recruits by the jihadists could be recruited to join local militias. Aaron Moore, who visited this Debaga refugee camp yesterday, is from World Vision, and he joins us live from Erbil, just outside of Mosul. Aaron, thank you so much for your time, Andrew, so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you, Kumi. It's a pleasure.
Now, let's just talk about a few issues here. One is this exodus of people from Mosul. What are you hearing about that? How many are trying to flee that city?
So we anticipate that there will be up to 700,000 people fleeing the city, which is a huge number. There are already about 3.4 million Iraqi people displaced. So the number of people coming out is just going to add to the situation. So far, we've only seen a few thousand who have been able to make it out and into safety. But the stories we're hearing from those who have been able to make it out are absolutely tragic. Some of these families just had to flee as soon as they could, as soon as they saw that there was a lull in the fighting, and they take their kids, they take anything they can take with them, and they run, and sometimes running or walking 14 hours in the desert till they can get to safety. Many times they're running out of water after 3 hours. So it's been a difficult situation for many of them, compounding already 2 years of difficult life in this ongoing crisis.
And when you say they're walking many hours to safety, where is that safety?
So in the areas around Mosul, there are many villages that have been retaken by the military offensive towards Mosul. We have not yet seen the military reach the center of the city, the most populated urban area. That area will not probably be reached for several days, and when that happens, it's very possible that we'll see much larger numbers of displaced people, again, reaching 500,000, a million people, even probably somewhere around 700,000 is our best estimate.
Now, let's talk about this story we're hearing around Iraqi militias recruiting child soldiers. This is primarily coming from the Debaga camp, which you were at yesterday. Where is this camp?
So this camp is just a little bit outside of Erbil, which is the capital of the Kurdish region. It's about an hour and a half south of Mosul. And this is where a little over 30,000 new arrivals from Mosul who have been fleeing Mosul have come. These families have settled in the last few days. They're going through the process of trying to recoup what's normal for their lives and get their family back on their feet, getting shelter again, and getting set up with a life. World Vision is there. We're providing clean water. In other places, we're also providing food and showers, latrines, household items, your basic needs that, if you can imagine, you just had to flee your house today, you had to run, you grab your kids, and you go. Whatever you would need wherever you arrive, that's the kind of work that World Vision and others are trying to provide right now.
So have you seen evidence of militias trying to recruit children?
We know that the humanitarian community is very concerned about that, and it is a very high risk because the children that we're working with are extremely vulnerable. When you get into these camps, you can see that the situation is quite dire, and when they're arriving, they're extremely vulnerable to a narrative of revenge or to difficult situations. So our objective is to try to provide them with alternatives to that. We do what's called child-friendly spaces or child and youth-friendly spaces, where we set up games, we set up coloring, we set up tents and canopies where kids can just come and be a kid. You can laugh again after a couple of years of very difficult life, and after fleeing a combat that can be an extremely harrowing experience, you come and you go play football. You go draw with crayons. We have teachers and counselors there who are helping these kids to just reestablish their sense of being protected and being safe so that they have an alternative to that kind of crisis.
And Aaron, Given the exodus of people leaving Mosul, going into areas like Dabaga camp, and there'll be more people presumably needing some safe place to go to, are you anticipating that you will need a lot more resources in order to cater for these people?
Very much so, very much so. So we're seeing some of the camps just start to be filled now. We're in the early stages of this crisis, but it's going to get worse, and it's going to be a long road to try to fix this. So World Vision has already started responding in Dabaga and Zelikan camp and across the entire region around Mosul. But our resources are very limited, and that is the primary constraint to our ability to respond, is limited funding.
Aaron Moore joining us there from Erbil live in your morning. So thank you so much for getting up for us this morning. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
It's our pleasure.